Congressman and member of the Four Country Caucus, Zach Nunn, joins me now for more. Congressman, hey, how you doing? Listen, you are a colonel in the Air Force Reserves with 20-plus years experience in Air Force intelligence. You were also involved in the drone program, so your credentials are right up there with the folks we need to speak to. What do you make of these drone sightings, and do you think they pose any kind of security threat?
Look, Phil, here's what we know at this point. We know we are living in a post-9/11 world where we had an expectation that the U.S. government was going to be able to work across agencies to deliver answers to the American people. Right now, we have folks in the New Jersey State Police who have intercepted these drones and been told there's nothing to see here. We have a U.S. Coast Guard cutter that was surrounded by more than a dozen drones off the coast of New Jersey, reported it, and again, these were dismissed by the White House. Right now, we have an FAA who is responsible for airspace management, pointing fingers at a Department of Defense who's pointing fingers at an FBI. At this point, we need resolution, and clearly we need leadership coming out of the White House to provide real answers that are clear, that are transparent, and that are responsible for folks, whether you're the governor in New Jersey or whether you're kids on the Jersey Shore. They deserve an answer, and now it's taking over and shutting down air bases across the United States. Equally, we need to have a real response here in the United States, because the second thing I know is that the majority of drone technology is coming from China. Nearly 90% of it, both the hardware and the software. And other drone technology, like the kind we saw come out of Iran that launched nearly 300 weapon systems at Israel this year, and tragically killed 3 U.S. service members in northern Syria at the beginning of this year, resulted from a drone technology that came online because Iran and other actors found a space for this. So the overseas threat is real. We want to make sure that doesn't end up on a domestic shore right here in the United States. Congressman,
you mentioned the White House. John Kirby from the Biden administration spoke to our George Stephanopoulos yesterday. Take a listen to what he had to say about the drones.
There are 1 million drones registered with the FAA here in the United States, and thousands upon thousands fly in our skies legally and lawfully every single day, doing all kinds of good things for the public good. These drones, these aircraft are operating the way the FAA requires them to operate in U.S. airspace so that they can be observable and to fly safely. We are on this. We're working it hard. There's no national security threat we're seeing at this time and no threat to public safety.
So Kirby says they are being transparent. What do you make of that, first of all? And is it possible that maybe not this whole thing, but that part of this is overblown?
Yeah, Phil, I think that there's a real hysteria around here, but I blame that right back on the White House for not being clear and transparent with the American people. The reality is this is the same John Kirby who told us at the beginning of the year that there was no threat from China for a balloon that flew over our entire country. Equally important, we're now at a point where we've got to have real clarity to get down to brass tacks on what's happening. Here's the reality. We have the opportunity to make sure that we have an indigenous drone production capability in the United States, because there are some great things they do. It's one of the bills that I led that was included in the National Defense Authorization Act, that we have the ability to keep out Chinese-made technology and incorporate more American-made solutions. I hope the White House can be a leader on this. I know that President Trump has already highlighted this. The mass hysteria is a direct result of a lack of information surrounding this entire incident. Let's move forward, be clear, be transparent, and let's start making drones right here in America that help our first responders, law enforcement, and everyday hobbyists like my kids fly a safe drone and not shut down major airports, because the FAA clearly at this point is unclear on what the situation over the skies of our cities and communities are.
You mentioned law enforcement. I'm wondering, what are lawmakers hearing about all of this, and can law enforcement combat it in some way?
I mean, I think the case in New Jersey by New Jersey State Police is a clear example of where they sent a helicopter to investigate a very large drone operating over New Jersey. When they got within sighting of it, the drone shut off its safety lights, and the New Jersey State Patrol had to disengage for mishap safety of air situations. This resulted in, a rebuke by the White House to local officials there. Look, I'm a military guy. I've flown combat operations and training sorties. When we have a U.S. operation where we're testing out a new equipment, a new airframe, a new UAS, we do it in a closed and controlled airspace, and we inform the other parts of government, including the FAA, so that there's not this conflict of information. And as the White House has said, we've got more than 1 million drones. We should have some ability, particularly at the state and local level, to help guide, even regulate this, but certainly to understand what's flying over the homes and households of every American out there.